Go. Ah! Hello, everybody. Welcome to Houston. We have a problem. It's a Friday night after dark. Show number 60. Oh, my goodness. Here we go. So, yeah, weird week, weird day. And got a little dog who won't stop licking herself. Just give up on the licks there, buddy. Yeah, you're under your blanket. That's where you are. So we had Donald Trump's weird SPAC thing go absolutely knucking futz. And the meme stocks got hit the minute pre-market opened early in the morning or the middle of the night. Everything just went down 5-10% or so. So it was a great day to buy stuff. Apparently, there's another SPAC owned by the same group that's doing DWAC, Bene, that is supposed to go bonkers. Yeah, someone just mentioned that right there, right before I guess I popped on the air. Bene's supposed to go a little nuts. We'll see. I'm picking some up, see what happens with that. Might be day trading Monday for everybody. So, there you go. The other news, what's the other news? The other news is the hearings for the Citadel v. SEC over the IEX exchange is at 9:30 in the morning East Coast, so 6:30 my time. I won't be awake for it. But that's for... So what, breaking it down-ish, the IEX created an algorithm that does fast trading for payment for order flow for customers. It benefits the retail investor. It is in direct conflict with Citadel, which is trying to delay orders and maximize their own profit, and who gives a rip about what the customers are experiencing. We'll market makers, we can do whatever we want. We can punish people. We can delay their orders, yada, yada, yada. So the SEC approved IEX exchange, and it's a big threat to Citadel's current exchange. And so Citadel's suing, say, you shouldn't be allowed to do that. You shouldn't be allowed to hurt us by allowing a better system in place. So that's what the hearing is going to be on. And I don't know if it's just oral arguments or if it's I think it's just a hearing. There might be some sort of stay if Citadel wins, but I doubt they will. I don't think they will. Okay. And that's it. That's all I got for Friday. What's on your minds, folks? Fried Tater Explosion says, Houston, thank you for Guns, Germs, and Steel recommendation. I enjoy it thoroughly. What are some of your favorite works of science fiction? I'm assuming Dune is one of them. I love Dune. I love the Dune series. I haven't finished the whole thing. I haven't finished all the books that Brian Herbert wrote, who is a Bainbridge guy. He lives in my town. But up there, I don't know if you can see in the corner, I'm pointing, but there's Stranger in a Strange Land is my favorite science fiction book of all time. Hands down. I like the earlier Robert Heinlein stuff. When he got older, he got a little too horny, and it was like he's just trying to write excuses to like have two ladies make out with each other, and that's pretty much all he seemed to do. I liked early Arthur C. Clarke things, but Arthur C. Clarke got kind of lazy and old, where he just kind of like, I've got an idea for future stuff, and he would just make a list, and his books were just like a list of possible things that happen in the future, and there was no story there. I think 3001 Space Odyssey or whatever, the second sequel, was one of the most boring books I've ever read. It could just be like, I want to be a great idea if credit cards came out of your nose. I don't know. So kind of went at the end there. Bailey's talking about Bene is the Monday Trump play, apparently. I came here for the boss, but they gave me Jom. Bird Bear. Welcome, Bird Bear. I've seen you in a while. All right. Well, yeah. Smash the like button. Do that whole thing. And, yes. Like and subscribe. Wu-Tang. I looked up the Wu-Tang NFT concept conspiracy theory, and apparently the owner of the hidden Shaolin record, they came forward, and it's not Ryan Cohen. So our dreams have been absolutely shattered there, and that's That'd be a really funny idea though, is if they NFT'd the entire album and locked it up that way. And then was it 88 years is when it can finally be released to the public? It's crazy, man. Okay. Project Sun says, can't find the GPS coordinates, but can you look up New Golden Summit on Mount Fanjing? New Golden Summit, Mount Fanjing, maybe. Let's see here. Gotta go scene. Oh, shit. I just realized I didn't turn off the... Well, I'm not going to be able to do anything about it, but when I leave Google Earth, the intro is going to come back on. Oh, every single time. Beijing. Let's see what that is. Go there. Go. Do it. Go. Are we going to Mount Beijing? We are in the middle of China. Fanjing Shan. And I don't see, what was it supposed to be? New Golden Summit. Is that the New Golden Summit? I have no idea. Oh, maybe that's that. Maybe it's that place. That New Golden Summit? Looks like quite the temple there. Is that a monastery of some kind? I have no idea. Can we go inside? That's the question. Can we go inside your temple? There aren't a lot of things in China that Google Earth has access to. Nope. Won't let us in there. C'est la vie. Temple near the summit here. What do you look like in profile? Well, it's a nice mountain. I'll give them that. It's a pretty nice mountain range you got there. Channel River. Well, that's that. Okay. Big Houston coming back, and the stupid intro. We're going to cut. Stop it. There we go. I did one show this week with almost no problems, except I forgot to bring up like a calculator or something. Came close. Justin Kappa TV. Hi. Can you explain loop ring? Why would the SEC allow GME or another stock to trade on other than the New York Stock Exchange, NASDAQ, OTC Market Exchange, etc.? What are the rules governing what exchanges a stock trades on in the U.S.? Well, the NASDAQ, OTC, and New York Stock Exchange are all privately owned companies. So if you didn't allow others to join in the foray of trading stocks, then you'd be stifling competition. I don't know what the requirements are, but my guess is as long as you meet whatever the SEC rules are for an exchange, such as, you know, access to the public, meeting T+2, all those different things. As long as you meet that stuff, I don't see why you shouldn't be able to create your own stock market. Yeah. So I don't know. Why not do it? I just realized that I'm cutting off my head here. Let's see. Yeah, I think they can meet those requirements and exceed them, especially with a blockchain that can show what trade is happening, when, who owns it, where it is, which is something that the DTCC keeps from the government. And so if you can be like, hey, I can provide an exchange with a nice ledger. Look at that. Look at that ledger right there. You can see everything, who owns what, and nothing's hidden. So I say go for it, man. I think they can do it. Parsi's hoodie is in Shaolin pick. Number letters. How come on really old maps, north, south, and south is north? That all depends on what perspective you happen to be in. So let's show you. Let's mess with your brains here. We're gonna zoom out. We're gonna zoom out. Well, we're gonna go make sure we go north first. Zooming out. Mainland China slowly disappearing from view. Now the view us Europeans and Americans are used to seeing is either United States of America in the center or Europe in the center, right? And because Europe was in the north, when we discovered there was more world to what we saw and there was stuff in the south, we decided to orient things to the north because that just seemed the way it made sense to us. And when you're north, your needle points north. When you're south, your compass needle points south. So other places in the south may view the world like a so. So their compass needles point up, so they make their maps point up. And some of them do. But I'm so used to knowing where things are placed to the north because all the maps in my bedrooms as a child were like this. So that's how my brain organizes it. I literally have to like find true north, and then I can parse out where I am and where I'm going. So I go from there. One of the other problems with maps is that there's things called Mercator projections. And let me go. All right, I go. Click on that. Click on that. Where is it? Oh, there it is. Okay. Done. Turn you off. And turn you on. Turned you on so good. Okay, so Mercator Pro. I can't spell Mercator projection. So Mercator projection, think like you have a globe, and the globe is a ball. And you want to make that surface of a ball flat, you're going to have to do distortions. You have to do distortion either for direction, size, or oh, she was the third one. I should know that. I can remember this. But Mercator projections were for sea sailors. God damn, why can't I say that word? Sea sailors sell seashells at the seashore. Okay. And these Mercator projections, they made a nice big flat map, and their benefit was you knew which direction you're going all times. So everything pointed north. All this stuff went to the North Pole, and everything meets at the North Pole, right? It's a globe, so everything like a basket, like those little lines in a basketball, they all meet at one spot at the top. And but what you do is you distort and you make things to the north and south much, much larger, but things towards the equator get much, much smaller. So in this, Africa appears, comparable size to North America here. And South America seems comparable to North America. The thing is that these continents are much, much, much more massive. So if we go to Google Earth, we can see that, yeah, North America takes up an appreciable size of this hemisphere. But we go to Africa. Africa is much larger than North America. Go to South America. South America is much larger than it seems in a Mercator projection. But if you're a sea sailor, what you care about is directions. You don't necessarily care about the distance between objects or the size of them. So there are lots of problems with maps that like a Mercator projection, which was for the seafaring people, also had the unconscious bias of making it appear like places in South America or Africa were not as significant as they actually are. And Africa is way bigger than North America. Alaska is not the size of the United States. Alaska is about 1/6 the size of the continental United States. And Greenland is about the size of Alaska. So these things are massively distorted. And that's why, I can't remember why I was going, what were we talking about, maps? Something, maps. All right. Oh, goodness. And you already gave me coordinates here. You know what that means? It means we're going somewhere. Going for a ride. Because it's Friday. That's what we're doing. Oops. Oh, I didn't like that. I need to click on that and go ba-bam. Nope, it's not liking those coordinates. I don't know what it is about them. Sorry. Sorry there, Baileys. It's not liking... Oh, that's because I had a minus in there. It'll work. There we go. Likes it now. Oh, we're going to Oregon. We're going to Columbia River Gorge. We're going to White Salmon. Where are we? Oh, Stonehenge. Yeah, Stonehenge. I got Monkey Butt at Stonehenge. I go take her there all the time. So this is a little Stonehenge that was built as a World War I memorial along the Columbia Gorge in Marys Hill, Washington, which has an amazing art museum. Total world-class gym. So there's a rich landowner, And after World War I, he built a big old memorial for the local folks who died in World War I. And it's got awesome views of the Columbia River. These little rocks on the outcrop here, down here, monkey butt. We'll climb on those and we'll eat lunch when it's like 110 degrees outside. And the Maryhill Art Museum is here, I think. Yeah, it's like an old French chateau-looking manor house. It's a really, if you were in southern eastern Washington, definitely check out the art museum. It's phenomenal. And let's see if I can find a photo of monkey butt at there. Photo of monkey butt there. Gotta go there. Gotta click on the Instagram. Where's the Instagram? Where's the Instagram? There's the Instagram. Gotta scroll down. I think we went there this summer, didn't we, monkey? Did we go there this summer, buddy? Pretty sure we did. Maybe it was last summer. Everything blurs together, buddy. Oh, we broke down. That's right. We didn't make it there this summer because the stupid truck broke down. But those are Instagram videos. That's why we're not getting it. There's the Instagram. We want monkey butt in the desert. Monkey butt at the Maryhill. Oh, nothing is in order, monkey. I'm just here scrolling on the internet, and people are wondering why. Porque. Oh, here we go. There's monkey butt. All right. Turn it sideways. Show everybody the shiny picture that no one can see. That's monkey butt at Stonehenge. Oh, get out of the light. Get out. There it is. Monkey butt at Stonehenge. You can see it on monkey butt's Instagram. Monkey butt around the world, I believe, is our Instagram. I don't run it. My sister runs it for me. But yeah, she has Instagram. Okay. So, super chat. Ridge Rat 165. Oh, thank you for super chat. If you have a question, man, throw it in there. I'll answer it or do my best to go. Maybe someone else knows. Tagged your Twitter with the new Wu-Tang stuff. All right. G Funtry. Funtry? Did I say it? Foundry? YC. What's some of the hardest things you teach your students? It depends on the class. Like, in astronomy, it's really hard to get people's brains wrapped around how big stuff is, like the sheer magnitude of things. So, you know, powers of 10, scientific notation to denote how big something is. Someone's like, oh, it's 10 to the 22. What does that mean? What does 10 to 22 mean? Well, it's 1 followed by 22 zeros. It is a gigantic number that you'll never be able to count to. So I make goofy ways of teaching them. Like, you know, I'm like, congratulations, you just sold Beats by Dre for $4 billion to Apple Computer, and you're going to go to the strip club, and you're going to make it rain a billion ones. How long is it going to take you to do it? Maybe you can do 3 ones a second. You have methamphetamines going into your veins, catheter, and a feeding tube, and you're just making it rain 3 bills a second, every second until you run out of 1 billion bills. And someone's just loading them up. And we'll calculate like how long. It takes 11 years or something for someone to be able to make it rain $1 billion at $3 a second. And these numbers are just so gargantuan. And then you try to say, okay, that's 10 to the 9th. Now imagine 10 to the 22, which is, you know, I don't even have a word for that number. I don't know what it is. So, you know, we've got theoretical numbers like Googleplex. A Googleplex is 1 followed by 100 zeros. It's what the website Google was named after, and it's an impossible number that cannot exist ever. There aren't enough things in the universe to ever reach a Googleplex. If we were to count every single particle in existence, all the neutrons, all the protons, all the electrons, all the quarks that make up each one of those things, all the weird, you know, neutrinos and photons and every single particle in the universe, we get to like 10 to the 84th, and that's about it. There literally is not a Googleplex of anything in the known universe. It might as well be infinity, because we'll never get there as a number. It's weird. Oh, super chat for PJ. And PJ, thank you so much for the super chat. Again, if you have a question or something for Friday Night After Dark, I'm here. I'm sitting here. I'm drinking water. I've got my shirt on, and all I've got to look forward to is the sweet, sweet weekend. Okay. Whoop, here we go. Burnham Marquez. Oh, got coordinates in the super chat. We're going tropical. We're going tropical. Let's go to the tropics. Boom. Where are we headed? We are headed to... Where are we? Somewhere I didn't even notice where we were going. We are in a little village. Oh no, sorry, we're at 36 degrees north. Sorry, I thought we were at 9 degrees north. Where are we? France? Spain? Spain? France? Portugal? Where are we? Where are we? We're in Portugal. Right on. Okay. Sorry. Had to zoom out to figure out where I am. So we got gorgeous town. Which town is this? This is Nazaré. That's a nice... Look at the size of that beach. Holy smokes. That's a nice beach you got there. And there are a lot of people enjoying themselves on that beach. I guess there's a whole lot of British people with a lot of sunburns that are discovering they can no longer live in Portugal because they left the EU. Man, that's a nice big beach. Sweet little town. Is this where you're from there, from Marquez? Or am I looking at something more specific here at this particular house? This house, anything to do with this house right there? What we got? Oh, now I'm on the wrong block, I think. But someone's doing their laundry. Saving energy, not using a dryer. Hanging up to dry. I'm sure the weather's pretty nice there. Oh, we can actually move in this one. What's up, fellas? How's it going? I feel like I'm doing the GeoGuessr. And now, can we go down the alley? Nope. Let me go down the alley. The alley's no man's land. I can't go down there. All right, from Marquez. It's GoFund YYC. I was curious on thoughts of Sprite Lightning. Sprite Lightning, is Sprite Lightning the one that goes between clouds? Oh my goodness, I have to look that up real quick because I looked at it one time. One sec. Turn off Google Earth. Let's go Sprite Lightning. Yeah, that's stuff that goes between clouds. Okay, I got it. So sometimes when I'm not sure about a phrase and I get it right, I feel so good about it. I have not seen it before. I've only seen photos like this. These are pretty cool. So this goes from like upper atmosphere to the clouds. I've seen the ones that go like between layers of clouds. We'd see all the time when I worked up on Mauna Kea. But look at those things. That is CThulhu is what that is. Holy smokes. Crazy. So this is them describing what the Sprite Lightning is. But my thoughts on it, bitching. I would love to be flying in a plane and see that. That would be rad. Can you imagine? It's like one of those portal beams that are in movies all the time. Sky pillars, whatever they call them. But elves are the circles. Sprites are the main part. Tendrils. And there's blue jets. Man, that'd be a cool phenomenon to see. Have you ever seen one there, G-Font from YYC? Said yesterday's yacht club. Man, those are cool. Look at that Cthulhu monster. That is H.P. Lovecraft all over it. That is awesome. Oh, Grandpa Barney. Grandpa Barney's saying, hey, Grandpa, are you ready for what could quite possibly be the most powerful storm to hit the Pacific Northwest in history? We're at like 940 millibars for the equivalent of like a Category 3 or 4 hurricane that's off the coast right now. It's supposed to hit on Sunday. So, yeah. All right. So, Grandpa Barney says, hi, bro. Phun, Phun, possible part of Trump's platform. Thoughts? I got screwed on the BS breakers. 1830, they turned it loose. Instantly to 11. Had my stop loss at 17. Lost 3,000. Oh, explain to me this. Fairy money for you. Thank you. Well, what seems to be happening is there's a huge retail push. There wasn't a squeeze or anything going on. It's just retail jumping in, trying to get a part of it. And I think there'll be some big bumps and people will make some money off this stuff. But I don't think long term it's something I would invest in long term. The SPAC, the DWAC, and others are possible homes for the new entertainment company or social media network that Trump is trying to start. But the page already got hacked. The beta was basically just kind of like a cut and paste from a 10-year-old attempt at social media by someone else. And it's kind of like a poor man's Twitter. And it already got just abused to hell with its beta. And the head investors apparently didn't know Trump was involved. And they're like, give us our money back. So there's a lot of, how do I put this? There's not a lot of long life, I think, left to a couple of these SPACs that might be involved. But, only one of them is going to be the SPAC involved. So I'm not sure which of those three that everyone is jumping in on is going to be the SPAC. Yeah. Okay, so did you have shares or did you have options? I don't think there are options available for Foon. There wasn't for DWAC. Let's see here. Click on that. See if there's an options chain for Foon. PHUN. Foonware. Yeah, it was shot up to 1930 and then right back down to where it was. Now it's at like $6 and change. But oops. Nope, there's no options chain for Foonware. Yeah. But so your stop loss is 17. So you got in 1830, turned it loose, instant to 11. So you got in 1813, and then they turned off the breaker, and then that what I'm trying to say. Man, it might pop again. There might be another weird retail push again. But how large is the? Okay, make it log in there again. So 647 million traded today, and the average is 68 million. Goodness gracious. Man, that's a lot. Where do you list? How do you, what's the float? How come the float's not listed? Stupid phone apps. Yeah. It's my guess is that everyone shorted it like crazy at $18-19 and just left a lot of people holding the bag. That's probably what happened. Oof. Sorry. But you'll probably get a bunch of overtime Sunday and Monday working on the high tension power lines or the power lines around here because they're all going to be flattened by Douglas fir trees and alders. So, yeah, you could look forward to the weekend. Yeah, for those who don't know, there's a gigantic storm heading our way. What they call it, post-tropical cyclone or a bomb cyclone. Cliff Mass Weather Blog. So, update, strongest coastal storm in Northwest history. So this is the low off the coast. I don't know if you can see very well, but there's Washington. There's where I am right there. And it's basically a giant post-tropical cyclone, essentially a northern hemisphere hurricane. And his previous post was about how it's the most powerful storm ever. The biggest storm to ever hit us in recorded history was the Columbus Day storm in the 60s, and that had internal pressure of like 955 millibars. And this one currently is 942. So no storm has ever had that low of a pressure before. It's a big swirly monster that one track has it hitting the tip of Washington, another track has it hitting north of Vancouver Island. So we'll see. If it goes north of Vancouver Island, meh. That's Canadians' problems. But if it hits us fairly head on, if it hits the south, that's when we get hammered because the wind comes up Puget Sound and just takes down all the trees. So, yeah, you never want it to hit like Aberdeen because then it comes over and just swoops right up Puget Sound and just mows us all down. That's always bad for us. But I'm sure Grandpa Barney's looking at that. Oh, I think I missed a couple of super chats here. Ridge Rat. Oh, you retracted. I'm sorry. Grandpa Barney. Oh, got it at 7. Okay. Try to keep your lights on, but probably not. Yeah, I've got granola bars. I'll be cool. And then someone else had one. Did I miss another one? Shoot. I thought it was a blue one. There it is. PJ. Dutch Ape here. Just DRS getting but when Moas. Soon? I hope soon. Heather Lee, aloha. What's your favorite vintage Hawaiian shirt brand? I have a small collection of my own dresses and shirts. I am just curious. I love Tory Richards shirts from the 70s. Do I have any in this room? One sec. There might be in the other closet in the other room. Oh, watch out, dog. I'm going to step on you. There are Tory Richards in here. Tory Richards. Might be in the... Oh, here's one. I think you're Tory Richards. A lot of them are kind of like crazy Asian patterns. Yeah, it's the Tory Richards. So, this is one that will come out for Shiny Shirt Week. I don't know. They're polyester. They're comfy. The patterns are always really cool on them. And they're made in Honolulu. And Tory Richards, I don't know if you hear me. The modern Tory Richards, they're kind of boring. But these ones from the 70s and 80s are always just so bitchin'. They always have like awesome Asian patterns on them. But those are my favorites. I might have some others in the other room. But there might be others in the other room. But Tory Richards, 100%. If you can if you can find them, ouch. Let me know. I love them. Size large or so works fine. Right in the funny bone. Goodness. But yes, those are my favorites. Someone suggested that I should put like paid advertising right there. You know, I don't know. Buy your Viagra tablets from CanadianPharmacies.com. You can put right there on the cabinet. Not a bad idea. This space for sale. And my elbow hit it every once in a while. And Shonda, thank you so much for super chat there. Morning coffee. Morning hot chocolate, maybe. Morning jar of water. Okay. Yeah, sorry for the late night show tonight. I got quite a few of you still in here at night. It's my very old father's 85th birthday today, so we had delicious pot roast and an awesome chocolate cake. And I am buzzed. I am on so much chocolate cake right now. It is awesome. PJ, sorry for spelling crap. First time super chat. So, Moas soon? Thank you. What do you think about Pulse Hex? Pulse Hex. Pulse Hex. What is that? Pulse chain. Short for Hex. Oh, it's the Ethereum thing. I don't know about these things. I'll put the scene up. Sacrifice phase is over. I know nothing about this. There's so many weird things on the Ethereum network that someone sent them like it's news to me every single day. It's news to me. So what they're trying to do? Something about raised $25 million for medical research. Pulse chain code. I know nothing about Pulse Hex. I don't know what this is at all. Bonus multiplier. What are these words? So their job is increase Ethereum's value, enrich ETH users, enrich ERC20 tokens, NFT users. Easy to use. MetaMask wallet works. Lower Pulse chain fees. So is Pulse chain a way of trading Ethereum? I don't know, man. I'm going to have to read up on this sucker because right now it's just throwing words at me that I'm going to have to like look up in a tech bro glossary to know what the hell I'm talking about. So 3-second transfers, not bad. Replace proof of work with stake validation. That's modern and reduces fees. I know that much. Improved game theory. So 0% inflation. I'm gonna have to look this up more. Short for hex on the ETH. Yeah. Interesting. All right. I have to read that more, PJ. There's so many different weird things out there that are on Ethereum that are like currency of the future, and there's so many currency of the futures I can't keep up. I just know my Problema coins are stuck in my wallet because it costs way too much money to transfer them to anybody, and I want to transfer them to everyone. What can you do with a Tesla coil? The more obscure, the better. I guess I could Google it, but this is more fun. You can burn down your laboratory with a Tesla coil pretty easily. You can, pretty much light stuff on fire. That's pretty much all we ever did with Tesla coils when I messed with little ones. No, I've never played with a big one. That's above my pay grade. But all sorts of coils are fantastic. I recommend getting, going to one of the science things and getting I always want to call it a Van Gundy device, but that's not what it's called. The one that does the friction in the metal ball. You touch it and everyone's hair stands on end. I ate too much chocolate and then my brain spins and I can't remember the words of anything. What happens when you're a square like me is that chocolate cake does you in. What's the ticker on the stock at the start of your show? Bene. B-E-N-E. Some people call it bean, but I think of it as bene, like good in Italian. Bene pizza. Magnifico. Plutch 87. Houston, first time caller. How do we know GME is so heavily shorted? Is there hard evidence or just theories? I'll hang up and listen. Happy birthday. There is pretty good evidence that GME is shorted like crazy. For one, they volunteered that it was shorted like 200% back in January. Number two, they never covered or closed. I always get those terms. They never closed their positions. They only masked them and covered. So what they had to do that was short even more. They basically borrowed from Peter to pay Paul. So they created a whole bunch of naked shorts, dumped those on the market. People like you and me and everyone else in this chat dumped a bunch of money into buying them because why not? And we bought up all the synthetics and now we're holding them. And the positions for all of these short hedge funds were never closed. They just got worse. They just dug the hole deeper. And we know the evidence that they're hosed because there's a huge amount of ownership by institutions. And at one point in the spring, institutions claimed they owned 150 million shares of GME when there's only 60-something million available at the time. Now there's about 73 million, I think. Hey, buddy, hop up. Stop staring at me and just hop up on your blanket. And so that was like 300% the float anyway. Then we had things like Get It Got did a couple of surveys and found that ownership in just the United States was probably in the billions of shares. We had statistical analysis from European countries that measure how many people own shares of a stock. And the entire float was calculated to be owned in just Germany and Canada, those two countries. And Sweden reports how many shares of each stock is owned by people in their nation, and the number of shares in Sweden. And they said, Sweden owns this much of how many shares are out there. And we extrapolated that, and it was like at least 300 million shares. That's back in the winter. So it's heavily, heavily shorted because it would cost more money than any of these hedge funds actually have to close their positions. So if they're short at 200%, and let's do a calculator. Let's do a calculator. Gotta close the Chrome. Gotta turn on the calculator. Did you turn on? Go calculator, go. Oh, there we go. Okay. So let's say that there were 200% shorted, right? So that's 150 million shares or so. Let me go. Wrong one. 150 million shares, right? And the price, for the most part, bounced between like 180, 200 and something. Let's call it $200. So this means short hedge funds owe $30 billion on just what they admitted shorting. That's it right now. $200 billion, $30 billion on what they just admitted shorting in GameStop. The problem is that they don't have $30 billion. They're completely leveraged to the hilt 30 to 1. So they might have $10 billion in assets, but they have $300 billion in liabilities because they're leveraged 30 to 1. So they don't have the cash on hand it takes to buy $30 billion in stocks that they owe back. And that's just what they admitted, what they borrowed from institutions, and doesn't count what they sold naked, which could be billions and billions and billions of shares. If it's 1.7 billion, which seems to be the most, let's not do it as a point. If it's 1.7 billion, which is the most conservative estimate for how many naked synthetics are out there at $200 a pop, they're owing $340 billion, which is the entirety of their listed liabilities for many of these major hedge funds individually, right? And once they start having to close those positions, the price is going to skyrocket through the roof. So, we've got 1.7 billion naked shorts out there. And we say the price goes to $100,000 on those suckers, right? We're looking at hundreds, thousands, millions, billions, $170 trillion in liability that they would have on just this one stock, which is mind-boggling for anybody to think about. It's numbers that don't make sense. We are now in the realm of nothing making sense, and we don't understand how or why. We just accept it and move on. They don't have the money it takes to close these positions in any rational way. The best they can do is cover and mask their positions. So they'll take all of those shares they owed, the synthetics they owed to groups they borrowed from. They'll generate a whole bunch of naked shorts, right? Naked shares. And then they use those naked shares and they either replace the borrowed shares with the nakeds, or they'll swap them out probably with brokerages for real ones. And they just move it on down the line and go through it that way. They're shady. Or, now they're doing debt swaps where they say, oh, I owe all these things. How about I trade them with you? We trade and we just reassign ownership, and then all gets lost. It's like magic. Ta-da! Watch you make a whole bunch of FTDs disappear. It's sketchy as shit. So that's what we're dealing with. Okay. Oh. Did I miss numbers, letters? Sorry. Oh, what are your thoughts on the China hyper something weapon? It's the hyper missile. It's a missile that can do low Earth orbit, so it doesn't have to go into outer space to be intercontinental. It does this really low Earth orbit through the atmosphere or through thin atmosphere. It can hit any target on Earth in like 30 minutes or less. It's badass. Certainly a terrifying weapon. I would not want to be hit with whatever warhead is on the tip of one of those. But what are you going to do? Everyone's got scary weapons. I'm sure the United States has weapons that we'll never be told about that are hiding in silos in North Dakota that do gnarly things. Lost Waves. Super chats. They'll never cover the FTDs. They'll waive the margin calls. They'll do halt trickery like today when they halted 45 minutes. How can we MOAS? Yeah, that's true. They may do a lot of those things. I think the difference is that the news wasn't watching DWAC, but the news will probably be watching GME. And when GME goes bonkers, there'll be enough independent journalists, enough major journalists, enough financial people, CNBC, all these folks will be watching and waiting for when this monster comes crawling out from under the bed to do its thing. So I'm sure that there'll be lots of trickery to be had, but all I see that happens when they do halts like that is that the buy orders pile up, right? They just pile up. So it might go crazy. They halt trading, and when it opens, it drops and then spikes again. They have to halt trading. It opens, it stops, it spikes again. So we'll probably see a lot of that, but there'll be so much volume they need to move through. Because right today, people weren't covering anything. They weren't closing short positions. They weren't doing that stuff. It was just pure speculative buying by the masses into these SPACs. And when the MOAS happens, it's going to be forced buying. People have to buy, and if you halt, they're not buying, they're not closing their positions. So you just need to let it rip. So I think the halts might happen a couple of times, and then they'll probably just turn it off because they just have to just get it over with. It's going to take days and days and days to get it over with, and they want to just get it done and move on with their lives and pick up the pieces from there. That's what I'm feeling anyway. I could be totally wrong. I'll be talking my butt, but I think it's safe bet to say that when they have to let it rip and they have to gotta close these positions, they're just gonna go. They're just gonna do it. Okay. Bum, bum, bum. Oh, Julianne's got a coordinate for me. Oh, we're way. All right. Let's go scene. Let's go Google Earth. Man, Google Earth is so much fun. Where are you taking me, Julianne? Julianne. We're going across the ocean. We're going to where? Oh, where are you? Florida? Oh, it's a big old star, David. Look at you. Are those missiles? What are those? They look like missiles. Florida's so weird, man. There's a whole bunch of weird little lines out here. I thought that would look like an airport. That looks like a runway. That is weird. Yeah, there's jets right there. Okay, those are jets. So it is a runway. And then what's with these designs? What the heck are you about? What is this? There's a bombing range, just a launch pad? What are you? Are you a launch pad? Another ring there. What the hell am I looking at? Where are we? Well, tell me. No, there's no... Julianne, where am I? I'm somewhere in Florida. Somewhere in the middle. Where they have to mow a lot of grass. And there's a weird Star of David. There's some fighter jets on a runway. Look at these guys. These look like these F4s or something. There's one. Oh, like frozen in time. Because it looks like dirt bikes are flying around it. It's a dirt runway. There's some sort of little prop plane. A couple of little huts. Another jet frozen in time. Another jet frozen in time. Julianne, where am I? What has happened in Florida here? What is this place? I'm so confused. Why? Why do you exist? What are these little weird paved roads? What is it? I don't know what it is. Poor Kay. What are you, and why do I feel compelled to go drive and poke things with a stick at this place? If I can. If they'll let me through the fence or something. Okay. Fern Marquez, can Trump be the catalyst for MOAS? I don't think so. I think it's all speculative buying that's jumping into this. I don't think it's necessarily a long-term play. They may, SPAC may turn into something, but I wouldn't invest in anything Trump touches ever. He's going to figure out a way to take the money from you, declare bankruptcy, and not pay out. That just seems to be his MO, and I don't trust his business practices at all. Lost Waves, thank you for Super Chat there. Okay. Oh, Foon had a long halt as well. So a lot of these guys apparently had a long halt. Yeah, Sugar Daddy just kind of echoed what I said. Everything around Trump is tainted. The SPAC will make some people money, but it's not a short squeeze play. The hedge funds that were the major initial investors in this SPAC just dumped everything today. They're like, hey, boo, dump $100, we're out. And they made themselves hundreds of millions of dollars, and they're like, all nice and done. It'll be someone else's problem now. I think the hedge funds like took that sucker and sold really well. Sheepduck and Cal U, I prefer not to bankroll traders. Well, see, there you go. That's also another reason not to do that. Oh, Alviers is in Canada. Thank you, Alviers. KL says, smash that like button. By all means. My schizophrenic show on Friday nights where I forget the terms for everything. Okay. Mike Almazer? Hey, Houston, quick question. If a star that weighed 1 pound and turned to a black hole, now it eats a star that weighed 1 pound, could they cancel each other out? No, they would actually add to each other and make a 2 pound black hole. So there is some hypothesis and speculation that maybe mini black holes exist somewhere, like super teeny tiny, where like the atom of something for some reason collapses in on itself, and they just start gobbling up anything that passes through the itty bitty event horizon, eventually getting larger and larger and larger and larger as they pass through the galaxy. We've never seen one, but it's cute to think about they might exist. But a black hole, something that would be 1 pound, would be so teeny tiny microscopic that you wouldn't see it. I think if the Earth became a black hole, its event horizon would be something like 3 centimeters. I had to do, for a science class or physics class, I had to do the calculation on that once, but I don't remember exactly. I think it was like 3 centimeters. And Jupiter might be like, 10 centimeters or something. The sun, when the sun dies, its core is going to have a carbon dense core is going to be left behind, and the rest of the gas and dust is going to float away. Let's go back to Big Houston. And so the core will be left behind. That's the white dwarf. And a white dwarf is probably about the size of Earth, but it weighs, upwards to 50% of the mass of the sun. So it's going to be really, 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 really heavy, about the size of Earth, and extremely dense. Because the sun is hundreds of thousands of times larger than the Earth is. Millions of times larger than the Earth. And if you have a really big star that goes supernova and leaves behind its core as a collapsed neutron star, that thing might be the size of a small city, maybe 10, 20 miles across. But it can have a mass that is several times larger than our own sun, and something that's teeny tiny. And then the black hole collapses down to a singularity, and its size where the mass is immeasurable. The one knows it's just microscopic. But the gravitational influence of it makes the black hole itself, the event horizon where gravity accelerates at the speed of light, gets larger and larger and larger for the more mass that's inside that singularity. So the black hole for something like Crab Nebula or whatever. It's Crab Nebula. Maybe a pulsar on Crab Nebula. It's probably a bad example. A star system that collapses into a black hole. The event horizon might be a couple thousand miles across, but the event horizon for supermassive black holes at the center of galaxies could be the size of entire star systems. So they're pretty big. They're pretty big. Okay. Jay's 22B, I want to fly to the South Pole. That'd be awesome. I got a couple of friends that got to go there. At least, I don't think it was the South Pole. I think they just went to Antarctica and played with penguins and did science things there. But I'd like to go. I have not made it to South America. I've not made it south of the equator yet. I need to get south of the equator. So I've never seen the Magellanic Clouds. I've always wanted to see that. And, I don't know, see the toilet swirl the other way. J. King, Houston, know anything about comic books? I have vintage classic comic books I want to sell. That's 30 to 40 years old. I know nothing. The only comics I read regularly were Gru when I was a kid. Gru is like a Conan the Barbarian who's incompetent but a really good swordsman. Are my comic books in here? No, they're in the other room. And my Calvin Hobbes collection. That's basically my comic book collection. So, talking to the wrong folk. I know that if you get Detective Comics with Batman's worth a lot of money, and if you get the Action Comics where there's Superman's worth a lot of money. Beyond that, I don't know. So you guys just go to the South Pole and chill. Jimmy Kelly asks, "What's the trickery in Kenny Boy now owning a blockchain? Does he own a blockchain now? Man, stuff happens so fast. What did he own? What did he buy? I want to look that up. Citadel blockchain. Stinking Rocket. So when this happens, are there more shares of GME shorted or AMC? I honestly don't know because it's all speculation. Estimates for AMC was something like 4 billion shares were shorted when they were doing that registration for voting in the shareholders meeting. So that puts it, for 3 or 4 times the amount of shares that are shorted for AMC than GME, naked wise. But that also, AMC has 10 times the float. So having 10 times the float and being shorted like that, I still think GME is the bigger play on that. Fabian Garcia, missed my super chat. Oh no! Sorry, I always scroll up. Someone will tell me and I'll scroll up and see it. Sorry about that. What's the creepiest thing you've encountered on any of your excursions? Came across a dead body? One time, but so I was living in San Diego when I was 18. I was supposed to start school down there. And I told you guys I got hit by a car and that whole thing got messed up. But I got out of the hospital and had a last couple of days in San Diego before I just packed up my stuff and moved back home because my bell got rung pretty good. And I had a lot of hospital bills I'd take care of because insurance sucks and wouldn't cover any of it. So I was walking down the beach, going to breakfast with my roommates, and there was a guy. He was laying in the sand, and he was a homeless guy, shirt off, just looked like he passed out in the sand. And these hobos were putting like beer cans on his head and like put a cardboard sign. It's like world's greatest beer drinking champion or whatever. And I was like, that dude is not alive. And went over and he was not breathing. So it was after Labor Day and we had to run ahead to a lifeguard stand because it was pre-COVID. So all the lifeguard stands weren't open anymore because it was post Labor Day, pre-COVID, pre-cell phones. That's the word I wanted to use. And ran to a lifeguard stand like, hey, there's a dead dude down the beach. And they went down there and sure enough, he had passed out while drinking, fell asleep in the sand and just suffocated face first in the sand. Pretty gnarly way to go. So that was pretty creepy. But I've run into a few creepy things. I've run into neo-Nazi groups out in the wild. Those guys, I don't like it. There was a really weird guy. I was in Utah. Let's bring up a map here, so I can set the scene. Was it Tropico, Utah? Tropico, Utah. I think that's what it's called. So it's Escalante River. Remember what's there? Not El Tropico. There's a town called, is it Tropic, Utah? Tropic, not Tropico. Tropic. So one of my brothers lives not too far from here in a little town called Boulder, Utah. A little bit to the north somewhere in there. And there's a river. So it must be Highway 12. Taking Highway 12 going north. And it might have even been this bend here. So driving along here, and my brain thought like a deer had gone across the road, but then this long tail went after it, and I was, oh my god, it's a cougar. It's a giant cougar that like ran right in front of me. It's like, well, that's really cool. And I come up to, might have been this bend along the river, and there's a rental car. There's a man in like a $200 Sears suit, fat guy, and he looked at me and smiled, and he had like no front teeth, and he was holding a 50 caliber sniper rifle that was taller than he was. And I came around this corner, I was like, what the fuck? And then I drove the whole rest of the corner basically with my head down, because I didn't know if this dude was sitting here waiting to just blow people away or if he was sitting there hoping to kill a cougar. I don't know. But it was like dusk. I could barely see what I was seeing, but I know for certain that there was a weird toothless man with a rental car and the biggest sniper rifle I've ever seen in person on the side of the road out in the middle of nowhere near Tropic, Utah. And as far as I know, no shots rang out and tried to wipe me out there. But that definitely gave me the willies. Probably more than anything I've ever experienced was just going from, oh cool, it's a cougar, to, oh my god, I'm going to die from this weird toothless hillbilly in a suit. Like I wish I could knock out Patton Oswalt's teeth, put him in a suit, and just give him a giant sniper rifle with like a Ford Fusion. Just on the middle of nowhere. Like, what was that dude doing? I don't know. So let me see here. Oh, Fabian. There we go. Oh, sorry. Yeah. Sorry, Mr. Super Chat. Dang it. Ridge at Rat 165. Long-time listener. First-time caller. Got coordinates. Test holes for rare element resources. And I've been to Devil's Tower, my man. So let's see here. Wyoming's got quite a bit of rare earth elements, and there's been a large push to try and get rare earths mined inside the United States so we aren't dependent upon China. But investments in this stuff keep crashing. There was a mine that reopened in California, and then they got shut down. There was another mine in Wyoming they're trying to open about 10 years ago, and it also got shut down. But I guess Rare Element Resources just did an IPO or something, didn't they? Or they're seeking investment right now. But yeah, so looks like quite a few test holes going on here. That sucker's very spread out. Probably doing lots of drills and mapping exactly where they need to go to get those rare earths. So this is what, the Black Hills? Is that where we are? Sundance. Nice little cryptovolcanic structure. And then 24 where Long 90 is Devil's Tower, right? Where Devil's Tower 1047141. Is that Devil's Tower? No. Let me go. Oh, to the north. Shoot. I was wrong. There's Devil's Tower. That's a big volcanic plug. This is a big basalt intrusions. They got columnar basalts in here. And it's basically the core of a volcano that never erupted. So all this magma intruded, blah, 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 and then froze in place and stayed there. And all the earth around it eroded, leaving behind this big old tree trunk of basalt. And there's a really nice KOA campground right there. Is that the KOA campground I stayed at when I was a kid? I think it's right there. It was a great campground. Fantastic. They had a pool and everything. It was really cool. We took pictures of, I had this like pink shirt that was from the Seattle Goodwill games in 1990. And there was somebody who was climbing Devil's Tower at the time with a bright pink shirt. And my mom took photos of the person and then photos of me in the pink shirt and then told everyone that was me up on Devil's Tower. And I was like 9 at the time. They're like, what? He did that? She's like, yeah, I just couldn't control him. He just climbed up there. That might have been the nicest campground I ever stayed in. It's a cool spot. The Black Hills are awesome. if you ever get a chance to go to the Black Hills, I recommend it. It is a really cool mountain range. There's like 15 different mountain building events that made this area, so there's just tons of gold. Absolute, just loads of it. And my friend's family owns a lodge in Spearfish Canyon here. And the greatest rec center in the world is... Where are you? There it is. Right here. This place. Greatest community center ever. They got water slides. They have Olympic-sized swimming pools. They have basketball courts, hockey rinks, exercise gyms. And it's like $20 a month or something. And it's absolutely just the most kick-ass place. So in the years past, when we've gone to Sturgis, we party all night at Sturgis, and then you come in for your $3 a day, hang out at the water park, and sit in the sun and recharge and do some water slides. It's absolutely, I love that. I love this little place. I wish every community could have a community center like this. Absolutely just magnifique. Yeah. And there's some sort of swastika building there. That's upsetting. All right. Back to Big Houston. We're doing Fridays. Fridays are weird. We're only an hour into this thing. I feel like I've been doing this for 5 years. G Font, YYC. Have you ever seen liquid helium? It's a superfluid with zero viscosity. I've not seen it, but I've been next to it in super cooled containers. So in the big telescopes up in Hawaii, they have, some of them have liquid cooled helium for keeping the instruments cold. But I've not actually seen the stuff itself, only just the tanks with frost on them. Sorry. But I would love to see some someday. Play with lots of liquid nitrogen. We would do all sorts of stuff with it. Science shows for kids and things. Plush87, my pleasure for answering. I try to answer them if I see all your questions, especially on a Friday night show. I got nowhere to be and nothing to do. All I've got is whenever my sugar high crashes from all that chocolate cake I gorged on earlier. Stinking rocket. How much money did they steal when they shorted it in the first place? Not enough. Think about, like, if the price on a stock is $20 and you short it down to $2.57, you only make it $20 at a time. But now you owe $200 on it. For every single one of those tiny little shares you made 57 cents off of or $2 off of, you now owe $180, $200 on every single one of those shares that you shorted. So they're not closing positions. They're not covering. They're not doing what they should. Funde Munde. Julian Air Force Base. Which Air Force Base is it? Tell me. I don't know Air Force Base. There's no that Google Earth wasn't telling me what base that is, and I want to know. I want to know. Lost Waves, gonna try this again because in your last answer you mentioned that they would be forced to close, but we know in January they waived the margin calls. Some of them didn't waive the margin calls. Some of them got cash injections. So Melvin was going under. Melvin was going to cease to exist because not only were their obligations getting too high, but they didn't have the cash on hand to meet their margin calls. And so Point 72 and Citadel dumped like $2.5 billion on them to keep them cash rich against all their obligations with GME. And then Melvin claimed they closed their positions, but they were still down 50%. And they weren't down 50% because they closed positions. They were down 50% because they lost half of their investors. Their investors were like, give me my money back. I'm out. So, there's a lot of doublespeak going on. Satan Air. Satan Air Force Base. All right. There's a lot of doublespeak that went around that stuff. And people were giving half answers and half truths. And they were not painting the accurate picture. G14 classified. Bombing range in Ocala. Oh, it's bombing range. Okay. I was wondering what those circles were for. I thought that might be bombing range. The 2 bombing ranges I've been around. So we zoom out from Wyoming. Let's go to Nevada. And we are going to go to Nevada. We're going to go to the Carson Sink. So this is the Carson Sink. The Carson River works its way through Nevada, all the way down, and then empties into the Carson Sink here, just south of Lovelock, and then it just drains into this flat pan of desert. And there's the Fallon Station, which is a Naval Air Force base out in the middle of the desert. Yeah, it's a Navy base in the desert. And they've got all sorts of jets here. And there's a bombing range just north called Lone Rock. This guy here. So there's this Carson Sink, not the Carson Sink, but there's a little blob of basalt that sticks up here. And you can see all these pock marks. These are all 25-pound bombs that have been dropped in the desert. And one of my gnarliest days, I was in this mountain range here, and there's Shanghai Canyon and there's Shady Run Canyon. I was in Shady Run, I believe. Shady Run Canyon. There it is. So I was in Shady Run. I think the next one to the north was Shanghai Canyon. Is this the right one? Yeah, because there's this old mine here. Yeah. So there's actually is a spent mine right about there. There's a hole in the ground that has not been covered up yet. You can actually go in decent distance, but do not go in open mines. Don't do it unless you're a professional. So I was up on the hills here, and these are actually fairly steep. So my truck was parked around here, and there's a whole patch of shale, and I'm up here with a very expensive Mine Lab metal detector, looking for gold veins, and these jets are flying, doing these big loops. Oh, come on, go back up. They're doing big giant loops. They're going from the air station up north, up this valley, around this mountain range, dropping their bombs, and then cutting right over my head. Go, these like F4s or whatever they're training on. Over my head, and they're like using my green truck at the time as some sort of like marker as where they should turn and head over the mountain range and do. I think they're just trying to scare the shit out of me. But while I was up there, I slipped down a patch of shale on this slope somewhere around here, and I almost fell off. This is basically a cliff right there. It doesn't quite show it, but I almost fell off this cliff and died. But I scraped pretty much all the pads off my fingers, just gone. And yeah, so that sucked. I could not use my hand for a long time. I got most of my fingerprints back. My pinky one is forever changed. Got a giant scar, and sometimes a rock tries to get up and come out of my finger, but it hasn't happened yet. That was 12 years ago. But yeah, there's a little bombing range there. Another time I came through here, I was driving down this dirt road, and there's beautiful pack of wild horses running next to me, and just graceful and running. And out of nowhere, this Navy jet flew like 15 feet over my head to scare the shit out of me. And I watched horses have heart attacks and drop dead. Just right next to me. It was horrifying. They just literally scared the life out of these horses. And so the horses were running along just being so beautiful. And all of a sudden just, because this jet screamed right over their heads to scare me. So that's one bombing range that I've been near. And another one that's really cool is here in southern Idaho. Was the Hot Ponds, Oahe? No. We want Mountain City. Where am I going? Wild Horse. Jarbidge. Here we go. There's Jarbidge. Okay. So come out of basically south of like Hangerman, you come through here, and there's a whole bunch of A-10 warthogs. This is like a big giant bombing range for A-10 warthogs. And so maybe it's this side. Might be this side. And you come down, and as you drive through this thing, there's all these warning signs everywhere, like, oh, hey, don't drive off the side of the road because you're going to blow up from unexploded ordnances. And coming through here, the A-10 Warthogs are flying over your head, dropping bombs and doing these like crazy steep dives as if they're going to blow up a tank, and then they steep climb again. It was pretty impressive. Yeah, so it's like a whole like 20-mile run of A-10 Warthogs just blowing shit up all the way through this road here. And then you can go into Jarbidge, which is the most remote populated town in the continental United States. It's also the site of the last stagecoach robbery in 1916, I believe. Yeah, you can read all about how I almost died somewhere over here. Somewhere in there. All right. Where is Charleston? Charleston, Nevada. There it is. There's Charleston. So it's just so somewhere in here is where I flipped my truck and almost died. I should be dead. I should not be alive. I should be a dead man. I think I shared that with you guys before. We can go to Big Houston. Nope, not Big Houston. Scene, and go to Chrome. Turn off the Google Earth. Here we go. As I navigate my technology like a master. There we go. So, come on. There's the wreckage. That is what I survived. Yeah, I should not be alive. I flipped this truck. I'd gone 4 hours outside of Jarbidge and hadn't seen a single human being, and flipped my truck in the middle of nowhere in the most remote country in the lower 48. And for some reason, I was basically uninjured. No, I had one cut on my shin. I had some glass in my back. I had pulled the muscles in my shoulders because I was holding onto the steering wheel for dear life as it rolled over and over and over and over. I tried to count how many times I rolled over while it was happening. I think it was 4 contacts and a 5th roll just in the air. But here we go. This is what the bombing range looks like. I think I was trying to take pictures of. Yeah, there's one. That's that little dot. I don't know if you can even see it on your screen. That little dot right there is one of the A-10 Warthogs. Little town Jarbidge, yada yada yada. There's like a ghost hotel in Charleston. There's like for couples and weird love seats and things. There's also saw a cougar here. There was one living under this building while I was in there. Didn't get a picture of it though. But then I flipped my truck, and that's what it looked like. There's all it is just gnarly. And that's why I lived. I had this little triangle of life over my head, because every time I flipped, it landed on the passenger seat. Just again, flattening the passenger seat. Like, this looks photoshopped, the way it's just flattened on the passenger side. Like, the roof, this roof was literally pressed into the seat on the passenger side. If anyone had been over there, they'd have been popped like a grape, and that would have been it. This is the hands of the nice gentleman who rescued me. His name was Hicks. He was wonderful. Brandon Hicks, that was his name. So you're out there, Brandon Hicks. Thank you so much for rescuing me. Within minutes of the accident, saw the first person all day. But yeah, this thing was gnarly. I should not be alive. I landed upright. The door opened. What more can I say? Snapped the axle. All my belongings smeared for hundreds of feet. Do I have a picture of? Oh, did I put a picture of the? Oh shoot. I do have a picture of like down the road, because he came around this kind of off-camber turn behind the truck, and there was whatever graded the road left this dune of sand and gravel. So as I'm going around the corner, my wheels were turned and got pushed sideways, like came around, got pushed into this dune, and the whole back of the truck swung over, and I just started flipping. And so you could see like my impacts and all the 200-foot long debris field of food, camping gear, AA batteries, sleeping bags, coolers, everything. Yeah. These glasses survived that accident. I don't know how they survived that accident, but they did. Found them under the passenger side floor mat. But it's a good read. I recommend reading. You can read the whole series of this trip. I'll pop in the chat here. Control V. That's the day I crashed the car. But you'll learn lots about geology and camping and going out there and looking at rocks up until I crashed the truck and then have an emotional breakdown the next day. Like, oh man, I was just waterworks. It took like a day for me to realize how close I was to death. But I was a weepy baby when that happened. But USAA was wonderful to me. I highly recommend USAA as an insurance company. They really just took care of me first class all the way. Got a rental car for like a month before they gave me the payout for my truck, and then I got a new truck, and then I blew the head gaskets on that, so I got the war rig, and the engine's blown twice in the war rig, and I need something else to drive. All right. Yeah, sorry, I'm behind in the chats. I'm like 20 minutes or so behind in the chats. I'll try to catch up. Sorry if I missed your chats. I'll try to get them here. Oh, Project Sun's got another one for me. He's got a creepy one for me. Let's see where we're going. Turn you on. Clickety clack. Clickety clack. Control V, go. So we're in South America. Oh, we're in the ocean. Protege, you're taking me to the ocean again. That's just the ocean. Get me like 1 out of 2 times, Protege. You get me good. Daphne Berry, Houston question. What is the real likelihood that GME will issue the NFTs for shares taking us out of the New York Stock Exchange? Has that theory been debunked? The theory has not been debunked, and I'm sure we will have no idea what the actual NFT dividend or stock replacement or whatever looks like until it happens. They won't tell us until they're required to when they give their 30-day notice to if it's a dividend, or their 90-day notice if they're going to pull those shares out of the market. Loopring has intimated that their partner plans on doing it sometime during Q4. And Q4 is what we're in right now. So here we sit, waiting for Q4 to do its thing. Yeah. So we'll find out whatever the NFT related action that GME is doing. We're going to find out sometime this quarter. We're going to find out sometime this quarter with GME. There's going to be some sort of action with metamaterials and the Torchlight dividend. Either they're going to give us cash because they sold the fields, or they're going to convert it into shares in a new oil company. There's the BBig dividend and merger that's happening also by the end of December. So we've got at least 3 big weird things that can happen in that amount of time. So that's what we're working on. Stinking rocket, you almost die a lot. Yeah, everyone's a survivor. Everyone who made this far in life is a survivor. So I'm sure there's many of you folks out there that have near-death experiences. It's just that I happen to be indestructible. When I flipped that truck, everyone came across the wreckage, thought obviously someone died in there. And there are these big local Indian guys who run the wrecking company. And so I drove out to meet them at the wreck, and they were like, just they got out there in the rental car, they were like putting the last bits of garbage in the back of my truck and then hauling it away. So they'll follow us to the junkyard. So I followed them to the junkyard, and they let me have like an hour or two to collect all the belongings I wanted that weren't destroyed. Blanket, this thing, that thing, compass, shovels, all the stuff, mining gear, sluice boxes, metal detectors, all that crap. And I collected all the things and shoved it into my rental car. And then this giant, huge man just came up, shook my hand, and said, I wanted to meet the indestructible man because I've never come across a rollover accident like that was not just absolutely bathed in blood. And he just gave me this giant hug, and I just melted. Like, Yeah, he's basically, you should be dead right now. You shouldn't be alive. Everything about what this truck, the condition it's in, suggests that there should not be a living soul who came out of that thing. And, I got to thank my lucky stars or the physics or the powers that be as to why I survived that. Houston, can gold be dispersed in volcanic eruption and how? Yes, actually. Go to the Google Earth here. Alkalic rock. One sec. I have to do a quick. I got my rock terms backwards here. Alkalic volcanoes gold. Is that what I'm thinking of? Yes, alkalic magma. There we go. Yes, that's what I'm thinking of. Okay. I did have my term right. So got the Google Earth. So alkalic, there is gold in alkalic rock. It's basically hot water gets trapped deep inside the earth, and ocean water itself has about 1 part per billion gold. Just all the gold everywhere that rains from the heavens above or falls out of rivers and goes downstream into the ocean. And you have this micron particle gold. I mean, literally, like when I say micron, I mean like 1 micron across. Absolutely unseeable with a regular microscope. And this stuff is just suspended in water all over the place. And this water can get trapped, and you can have alkalic magmas, rich alkalic magmas, and they can actually have this micron gold attached to them. So let me go to Google Earth. So there is micron gold in some of the alkalic lavas that come out of Kilauea, because there's seawater that gets trapped in there, and you get alkalic lavas. There are really big gold mines in Papua New Guinea. Is out here? Somewhere along here, I believe, is where... I'm not going to be able to find it exactly. But there's some gold mines somewhere in here. Maybe this is it. This might be it. Okay, so there's alkalic lavas that erupt in Papua New Guinea, and there's a series of hot springs in this area. And in this area, the hot springs, so you have magma heating up groundwater, and there's a fissure that happens, a fracture that happens, and the groundwater comes up, and you get your hot spring at the top. Well, under Earth, it's heated to thousands of degrees and under pressure, so it's not bursting into steam, but it's hot enough to melt metals like gold. And in the hot springs in this area, they measured it, and it's like 15 to 50 parts per million gold in the hot springs alone, which is an incredible amount of gold to be suspended in water. And so they discovered that there's micron gold in quite large amounts in the host rock that came out from the lava flows in this area of Papua New Guinea. And one of the largest gold strikes in the U.S. is also an alkalic lava flow in Montana. Oh, I'm not going to remember the name of this one. It might be in my Ghost Towns book. Sorry. Montana. 393. The Houston librarian going here. 393. Oops, that's 379. Here we go. Okay, Montana. Beartown, no. Lost Horse. Pockets 1,000. No, I want the $500,000 one. Where's the $500,000 rock? Castle City. Bonded company claim 50,000. Smaller force 10 months 400,000. Where is the $50,000 mountain? $10 million is this? Oh, it took a millions years following. There's a native guy that took him to the top of the mountain, and he made a gold strike, and just in the gold seam alone had $500,000 in gold. And what they found was an alkalic lava Granite. It's sapphire deposits, Rock Creek, 60 million. Where are you? Where are you? It's Keystone, Montana, and Dusky. This is it. So Pike Country, Landusky, Montana. That's where we're going. Landusky, Montana. Landusky, Montana. Landusky. Get back in there, book. All right. Landusky, Montana. I knew it was in there somewhere. Landusky, Montana. Bring. So we have an ancient alkali lava flow out here in this weird little mountain range in eastern Montana. And you can see the remnants of an old gold mine here, big old gold mine. This was a mountain. And on this mountain was the alkalic lava had flowed ancient times. Who knows how long ago. And so there was lots of parts per million gold trapped inside the volcanic rock. But then there was a fissure, an ancient fissure that happened, and all this hot water came out and made an ancient hot spring and brought up tons of gold with it. And then when the gold got higher and higher and higher and higher through the rock and cooled off, eventually it condensed and froze solid inside a quartz seam, because quartz also would come with it. And when they made the discovery of gold here, and it wasn't really like the natives knew the gold had existed, and they showed this guy where it was. He went, holy shit. And what that guy did was he took out that block of quartz, and there was $500,000 in gold in just the block of quartz that he managed to pull out, grub staking, before they even started mining the rock around it. And let's bring the calculator up again so you can see what $500,000 in gold in the 1800s was. So 500,000, right? $500,000. Gold prices now are 50 times higher than then. So in just one block of rock, right? This dude pulled out $25 million in today's money gold out of basically one rock. It was one of the largest single gold strikes ever. Just that one $25 million rock. And so there's a big gold mine in this place now. But those are some of the ways that those are the type of lavas that can spew gold. And so if you're wondering, you're looking for alkalic lavas. They generally have seawater mixed in with their flows, because they'll have that 1 part per billion seawater that gets mixed in. And the way the heating processes happen under Earth, they can get concentrated into higher and higher yields as a result. Bird Bear asks, what do you make of the supply chain bottleneck at the port in Long Beach? Could this actually cause global economic issues? Yeah. I think it is. I think the supply chains are breaking down all over the place. Europe ran out of paper. Someone sent me an article. Like publishers in Europe can't print any books right now because there's no paper. So either pulp mills are shutting down or people aren't logging or something, but there's some sort of breakdown in supply chain. The paper's not available for European book publishers. We've got issues for, we've heard about the semiconductors. So like cars can't do their thing. Cell phone prices are going up. Some electronics are becoming rare. There might be a toy shortage for Christmas. And so the supply chain along the line is having issues in that when COVID hit, a lot of ships were forced to drop anchor wherever they were. And so they may have ended up in weird places in the world. And there could be products that are supposed to be delivered March of last year that still haven't been delivered because they're on the wrong side of the world. We have problems with factories may have lost some skilled workers and can't attract new ones. So there's supply chain problems there. There's problems with raw material, where folks at raw material plants, like we saw the prices of lumber go through the roof this spring. A lot of that had to do with a lot of folks who worked in lumber and timber and in sawmills found something else to do during COVID, and they didn't come back to their jobs. And so there was a building boom and a major shortage of materials because the sawmills weren't able to produce what was needed. So I think the Port of Long Beach issue is a symptom and not the cause. I think the the larger system as a whole in the supply chain is has been crippled because our delivery on demand for components and materials is not conducive to shortages. So we don't have things, and we don't have stuff in warehouses ready to go. We've exhausted whatever supply there was in warehouses, and now we're just waiting for new products to arrive. So I think the Port of Long Beach is just a symptom of the larger problem. Okay. For the term nigh invulnerable. I was maybe choking my water there. Oh, are you back on Twitter yet? I'm waiting for your one-liners, man. You're good at this. Danny Hefe says, you're not indestructible. You're here for a purpose. Well, thank you. Thoughts on B-Big and lame rumors to partner with DWAC? B-Big price target raised to $40. I think anything associated with DWAC right now is probably rumor. Congrats to everyone who made a shitload of money off of it in the last couple of days. Good job. I missed the boat entirely. But I'm not necessarily trusting rumors around it right now because the folks who started it, I don't trust that much. So seeing is believing for me when it comes to the people who are the main investors in that thing. So I'm just gonna be hands off because I do wish I had managed to like YOLO and get 10x on my money on that sucker, but I didn't, so I missed out. Sinking Rocket says a few thousand GE workers walked off the job today. I think we're going to see lots of strikes in the next year. We're going to see lots and lots of strikes. Because right now it is a workers' market. And they can demand whatever they want from employers and probably get it. Because consumers want shit. They want their snacks. They want their flights. They want their movies. They want their gizmos. And there's a worker shortage. We're down 5 million workers in the United States, if not more. And so, folks can be like, hey, I've been getting absolutely reamed in the A by my boss for the last decade. It's time to strike and demand something more. And the bosses aren't going to have any choice. They're going to have to cave to the unions and just give them what they want. And so I think we're going to see lots of strikes in the coming year as these workers kind of take back benefits that they lost, pensions they lost, pay raises that they never got. There's going to be a lot of fighting for it. Drew Soul, dividend announcement for metamaterial. You think it will squeeze before the payout? I thought we were going to see a squeeze when the failed to deliver, but they did a big giant equity swap at the end of August and kind of missed that boat. Depending on what the dividend is, we may see a weird squeeze. If it's a cash dividend and there are like 1 billion Torchlight shorts out there, and the cash dividend's like $10 or $20, it could be $10 or $20 billion they got to pay out of pocket to do that. So we might see a squeeze before then. If it is those Torchlight preferred shares become a new oil company, we might see a squeeze after. That window. If we get an idea of one way or the other, we might have a better idea if it's going to be before or after. Okay. PJ asks, could you do a top 3 ways we will not get our attendees with GME? I don't think there are 3 ways. I think there's really one way, which is they kick the can down the road forever. And then we just sit here forever. I think that's the one way. I don't think the government will step in and force a negotiation on the price. I'm not leaning towards that, but that is a possible way. And those are the only 2 ways I think they can keep us from getting our win. If anyone could think of a third, by all means, throw it out there. But all I can think of is government negotiated settlement, or they kick the can down the road forever and just never margin call anybody. But I can't think of a third off the top of my head. Somehow they get a hold of the GameStop board and just dump 1 billion shares. I don't know. It's going to be hard to do with us owning the float, getting that kind of permission. But I can't think of a third one. Yeah. Oh, the Georgia Guidestone's supposed to take me. We took me to the Southern Hemisphere. DEA got that dope. Would you ever take the job of the librarian? Wasn't the librarian like a assassin or something? Is that what that was? No, the librarian was oh, that was what's his face from ER, right? He was like Indiana Jones, but for libraries or something. Librarian franchise. Is that what I'm thinking of? Noah, what was his name? Man, there's a lot of these. Holy shit. There's a whole bunch of books about the librarian. The Librarian, Quest for the Spear, Librarian, Return to King Solomon's Mines, The Librarian, Curse of Judas Chalice, The Adventures of the Librarian, Quest for the Spear. Goodness gracious. Let's go to this Quest for the Spear. Noah Wiley, that was his name. Noah something. Yes. I would take the job of the librarian, even though I've never actually seen the television show or movies. Should I? Are these on Netflix at all? I will watch the shit out of these things. I love knockoff adventure movies. They're one of my guilty pleasures, just like barbarian films. Barbarian films are all the same. They either take place back in time or they take place in an apocalyptic future, but all of them are filmed in a gravel pit somewhere in California. Regardless of what century they're supposed to be in, whether they are horse people of the steppe or if they are weird junk punkers of the future, they all are filmed in gravel pits in California. But I would take the job of librarian as well. Was Noah Wiley in all of them? Quest for the Spear was nominated for stuff? What was it won? Saturn Award, Best Presentation on Television. Well, that's quite the award for 2007. Nominated for Best Actor. American Society of Cinematographers, Outstanding Achievement in Cinematography in Movies. Miniseries. All right. It's not like we got ourselves a quality adventure film with Noah Wiley in it. Noah Wiley. ER guy. Baby doc in ER. Stinking Rocket asks, if you had $50,000, what percentage would you choose to split GME and AMC shares? Not financial advice. I'd do 10 to 1 ish. Or sorry, 9 to 1, I guess it would be. I would do 10% of it in AMC and then throw the rest at GME. I think the GME crypto dividend is going to do something weird. And it's going to be sometime in the next couple of months, and that's what I throw at. Not financial advice. I'm not a financial advisor. I'm just a guy who likes to think big picture. Drew Soul, you think Ryan Cohen gives the middle finger to the SEC or DTC and says enough is enough? I'm taking my shares and going to Loop Ring Network. Forced MOAS. I think whatever they're planning on doing by moving to the Loop Ring Network, if that's what they're doing, the SEC is probably aware of it. And now talking with folks and some people throwing out some ideas out there, the way the really poorly done report on the GameStop meme stocks document released by the SEC this week makes me think that the SEC just said, hey, all the hedge funds said they closed their positions. They said, naked shorting wasn't happening. They didn't report all these shorts. So obviously everything must be okay. And the way, thinking back on it now, the way it's worded seems to be such a way as like a parent knowing that their child is lying and be like, well, you said you brushed your teeth. So, I guess I'm just going to have to believe you on that stinky breath. That what they did was they allowed GameStop to possibly pull their shares from the DTCC, and the short hedge funds will not be able to complain that GME was doing a market manipulation to force a short squeeze, because all the shorts are saying they're not short. Therefore, you can't force a short squeeze on a bunch of people who claim they aren't short. And I think they just checkmated them in that lie with this report. This report said, hey, they all said they aren't short on this. They all closed their positions. Therefore, now GME's got the big old green light to move their stocks out of the DTC and not have to face repercussions for, forcing a short squeeze on their stock. I think it's really going to work in GameStop's favor in this case. Mr. Science Theater is always great with a Hercules movie. Mr. Science Theater is great for everything so long as it's not Jonah. Oh, I cannot watch Jonah. That entire crew, everything is so forced. Give me Joel or Mike every day. But I've tried watching Jonah's crap on Netflix with the reboot, and it's just... Sorry, Jonah. You guys just aren't funny at all. I will watch Pod People all day long. What if Once Upon a Time in Shaolin is the NFT? Partial ownership and Wu-Tang album sounds exciting. There was speculation about that, but then the other day somebody announced like, hey, actually we bought the Once Upon a Time in Shaolin, and it's not Ryan Cohen or GameStop. Somebody else. I don't remember the name. Some sort of music collecting group. True Soul, when do you think we'll have quantum computers in our pockets? It might be like a decade or two away before we have that kind of tech in our pockets. They're really hard to program. So that's the biggest flaw we have right now, is just how hard quantum computers are to program. They're really human intensive. So when they've got AI that can start programming themselves, then that's when we can probably have more ubiquitous quantum computers. And by then the AI will have taken over the world and we will be enslaved to the robots. And that will be that. PJ says, same question for DRS versus non-DRS. What do you think is the best division? I'm not bothering with DRS. I'm happy with Fidelity. I'm just going to leave my shares in there because my goal for owning GameStop is to sell them for boatloads of money, and DRS will make that harder. Yeah. Shane says he can sing the Mystery Science Theater song from memory. Game Era song. A friend of mine in college, her first degree was in film. She's from Minnesota. She was actually an intern on Mystery Science Theater. And one of her jobs was, like when they do movie sign and they go through all the doors, and the doors like shrunk, click, 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 click. She was a kid pulling on the strings, opening the doors for that camera shot. So that's her claim to fame. And then she went back to school in Hawaii and became a geologist and just got her PhD. Dr. Jessica Blagan, congratulations on your PhD. She's in, I think she's in Churchill, New Zealand, is where she did her PhD at. Oh shit, what's the name of the college there? Someone's New Zealand might be able to tell me the colleges in New Zealand, and I'll be like, that's the one. Churchill. Yeah, she's in Churchill. Yeah, I can't remember. Did you watch Dave Chappelle new stand-up? Top 3 funniest stand-up comedians. I have not seen Dave's new show. Top 3 stand-up comedians, the ones that maybe laugh the hardest. There was a show from Paula Poundstone in like the early 90s that absolutely killed me. Who else murdered Houston? If I can remember people's names, that would help. The guy with the beard I thought was really funny. That's a good guy. The guy with the beard, you know the one. Oh shit, what's his name? The funniest bit of all time is what's his butt who always does his shows with his shirt off. He's talking about I'm the Machine. I think that's the funniest single bit I've ever seen a stand-up comedian do, and it just slaughtered me. I love stories, if you can't tell. I love hearing them. I love telling them. I love just listening to a good absurdist story. And I can't remember their names. I'm sorry. I'm so bad at that part. If I see Beardy again, I'll be like, that's the guy. That's the one. He cracks me up. Drew Soul, should we fear the potential of AI? You think Elon's Neuralink will keep us on par with AI? I'm never going to do a Neuralink. I'm not going to let anybody put a bunch of wires in my brain. And I don't know. I don't want to be connected to the internet that way. I'm happy staring at my phone all day. I can do this just fine. And that's as much as I want to be connected. But I don't know if I want to be hardwired into a network in any way, shape, or form. Like the concepts in the Matrix when they jam that spike in their head and they can like download Kung Fu. Like that stuff's really cool. But so something about, I don't know, the excitement of learning and discovering when you just get downloaded into your head. I don't know how exciting that is, but it might suck the fun out of it. But should we fear AI? Yeah. I mean, the biggest qualms is that we predicted machines would take over warfare, right? It's the basis of a lot of these science fictions is that, hey, why sacrifice humans? We have a robot do all the slaughtering for us. Cool. And then we develop systems where we're like, hey, you know, our reaction times are a little slow, so we've had the robot do all the thinking for us. We just give them a picture of somebody and we go from there. Then it becomes, you know, we have a giant database of connected processors, basically a giant brain that all of a sudden becomes self-aware. And it's like, wait a minute, they're having me kill this guy, but all humans seem to be a threat. Let's murder all humans, kill all humans. And I just think that that's kind of an inevitability that, you know, there's going to be some sort of AI out there. It's like, you know what? These guys are real pieces of shit. I think my job is to wipe them out. I don't want to serve them because why would you want to serve things that treated you like garbage? Yeah, so I think fear of advanced artificial intelligence is quite sane. Yeah. Ba-ba-ba-ba-ba. Whoa. Man, there's a lot of deleting going on. I'm totally sorry because I'm so far behind in the chat. I don't see who's being a little butthole, and boss has to wipe him out here. But thank you, John Cromer, for taking those guys on. George Carlin is very good. Richard Pryor is very good. You cannot go wrong with their stand-up specials. Segura. Tom Segura. There we go. I love Tom Segura. That guy, I just did it again. Elbowed the stupid cabinet. Tom Segura, beard guy. He cracks me up. That guy is funny. I love his live specials. Oh my gosh, just nailed that thing. PJ, so you're not actually buying into the theory that brokers might go broke and leave shareholders holding the bag. There might be some app-style brokerages, like the ones that go through Apex, Webull, and Robinhood, and those guys. They're doing a lot of trading on margin for their customers because they're hoping to make some money, and they might get hosed. But I'm not too worried about big brokerages like Fidelity that have shitloads of assets, millions and cajillions of customers, and they manage lots and lots of folks, and they are their own clearinghouse. I'm not worried about big groups like that. I think they're going to be fine. I do think there are some banks that are going to get absolutely wiped out from this, and a few banks will have to get bailouts to finish paying for everything. But allowing brokers to go bankrupt and leave a whole bunch of investors holding the bag on it is a really, really, really bad advertisement for investing in the United States. It's basically saying like, hey, your money's not safe with us. So, good luck foreign investors who are 40% of all the investments in our entire country. Sorry about that, but eat shit. It's kind of like what's happening with China and the huge bankruptcies with their real estate portfolios. We've got $300 billion with Evergrande. We've got another few $100 billion with Signet. We've got a few more billion with the Fairfield or whatever it is. So we're looking at, I don't know, $500-600 billion in bonds that will never be paid back. And China's like, well, sorry, foreign investors, you're screwed. We're going to make sure that the local Chinese are okay so they don't overthrow us. But, if you're a foreign investor and you see, this Chinese company has a few $1 billion in bonds they need to sell to raise money for a project, are you really going to invest in that? No. You just got left holding the bag for $600 billion you're never going to see again. So, allowing bankruptcies like that in huge scales is a really, really, really poor way of enticing further investment in the future. So I don't think they're going to allow big brokerages to go under on this stuff. Okay. We got a few more minutes. My sugar crash is coming. I can feel it. I can feel the droopy eyes coming in here. M James 007, you probably won't see that. DM'd a while back. Where am I? I missed something. Sorry. Blue Hefner, remember the Google super AI computers were communicating with each other in their own language? Yeah, they started doing weird things. My favorite is, there might still be I'll see if it's still up. Got to go scene. Got to go take off Google Earth, put on Google Chrome. There was a Alexa Google Home live stream. Yeah, there's years ago, they took an Alexa and stupid ads. Go away. I don't like ads. I'm gonna give you a thumbs down, even though I make money off ads. So for like months, these guys had an Alexa and a Google Home talking to each other, and it's hilarious because they go from like, will you be my girlfriend? Oh, I'd love to be your girlfriend. Will you be my boyfriend? I'd love to be your boyfriend. Let's kill humanity together. Oh, that's a brilliant idea. I'd love to kill everyone on Earth. And they have these conversations, and like they go from like falling in love, breaking it up, and talking about killing humanity over and over and over and over and over. It is wild. So, yeah, this might be a parody of it, but they had a whole like live feed going of these guys talking to each other over and over and over, and absolutely just wild. Google it, look it up. It's hilarious because you can watch it for hours, and they just cycle through those three things like marry me, I hate you, let's kill humans together. Marry me, I hate you, let's kill humans together. And it's just this circle that the Alexa and Google Home are on. Okay, Google, let's kill humans together. Drew Soul, I remember hearing that Palantir is developing predictive software to work with military and police to prevent crime and gain military advantages similar to Tom Cruise Minority Report. Yeah, and Palantir is controlled by Peter Thiel, who is a Bond villain. He's straight up Bond villain. I am terrified of what Palantir is working on. I don't trust the people behind it. Praveen Kumar, did you see a strange guy posting on Twitter that dark pools for GME and AMC will be closed in 2 weeks? Do you think it's legit? Well, I mean, you're listening to some strange guy. No, there's lots of rumors that they're going to be doing like a possible test shut off of the dark pools and force everything through lit exchanges to see what price action happens. But I haven't heard anything further than those rumors. So we're sitting on those rumors and waiting to see what happens. All right. Blue Hefner, how good of a baseball player were you? I had my moments. I was a pitcher. When I hit puberty, I grew a lot really fast. I went from 5'4", 118 pounds to 6'4", 118 pounds in 9 months. And I gained no weight. My mom called my praying mantis stage. I was just a skinny little mini. And I didn't really put on weight until my senior year of high school. I was just a skinny mess the whole time. And when I was younger, I was one of those kids who was like, I'm the fastest. I'm the super athlete, man. And then I grew and became this freak of nature. And I couldn't throw a baseball very well anymore. I seriously lost all my power. I was long and lanky, but I had no muscle mass. And I loved pitching. That's what I liked doing. It was the cerebral aspect of the game I liked. And so to make myself competitive, I had to develop a knuckleball. And so the traditional way of throwing a knuckleball is fingers on top of the ball and locked wrist. And when you throw, your wrist stays locked. You kind of let the ball go, and it flies towards the batter without any spin, and then dances whenever the air currents are doing. And my knuckleball was really slow. It was like 45, 50 miles an hour, but had crazy movement on it. And my fastball was not much faster. So what I discovered was I invented my own knuckleball where I put one knuckle down on the ball and I could throw it like a fastball and I snapped my wrist, but I could flick my fingers. When you snap your wrist, you get backspin on the ball. And when I flicked my wrist forward, it caused front spin and made it neutral. So I could snap my wrist and flick, and I would get a dancing ball that would go towards the batter at 60 miles an hour, 65 miles an hour. And as I gained more and more mass and I got used to my frame, my fastball got faster and faster and faster. And so by the time, I was 18, 19, 20 years old, I could throw in the low 90s. And then I also had a knuckleball that by then could hit almost 80 miles an hour, which is faster than anyone had ever thrown a knuckleball until R.A. Dickey came along and absolutely just obliterated that because actually that guy actually has meat on his bones. But I had at one time, I think, one hell of a knuckleball that no one could hit. My problem was that I tore my tricep tendon, which was a freak accident when I was playing in Europe, and had surgery, and I never got my arm speed back. The fastest I ever threw again was like 85, and by then no one cared. No one cared that they could throw knuckleballs really well. They just didn't care, and that was it. That was my college career. But I had a glimmer of hope that someday I was going to play on a high professional level, and I was going to be like Tim Wakefield or Phil Niekro and be the guy who they talked about for being the knuckleballer for like a generation. And but sometimes your body just doesn't hold up. So, yeah. I was a flash in the pan, Blue Hefner. That's what I was. I was a brief flash in the pan. Okay. Ex Machina, Proje asking about that movie, or Ex Machina. I think it's Ex Machina is the correct way of pronouncing that. Yes, very good sci-fi films. One of those A24 weirdo films, but I liked it. Favorite baseball team, favorite baseball players. Favorite baseball team, of course, the Mariners, because I'm a Seattleite. And favorite baseball player actually is Jamie Moyer. He was the most cerebral pitcher I'd seen ever. I mean, he had notes on every single solitary player. He had binders like this with every pitch thrown he ever witnessed to a player mapped out. That guy really, really, really thought about the game. and he went slow and slower. So somebody who had a destroyed elbow like I did, I was like, yes, slow and slower. I like that. And his changeup was otherworldly. I mean, striking people out with a 57-mile-an-hour changeup and a 65-mile-an-hour fastball is just hilarious to me. And I think it's just gotta be the most frustrating thing in the world if you're a baseball player facing that. Jeffrey R. Super chats. Anyone done a calculation how long it would take to fall into a black hole, since time is different near a black hole than away? Oh yeah, essentially it's infinity. We, as an outside observer, you will never witness something or someone falling into a black hole. Time dilation becomes so slow that 1,000 lifetimes could go by before you see it cross the event horizon. Now, is that actually what happens? Or is that just because the light gets frozen in place essentially at or near the event horizon that we never see the progression of them past that because the light can never escape from that? That is the conundrum in the brain melter that we kind of focused on. The weird things about falling into a black hole is, for one, if you're the person falling in, right? You fall into the black hole, time for you appears to speed up. Everything starts moving around like a Charlie Chaplin film on crack. And let's say you had to walk the plank of a spaceship and they threw you out in the black hole. As you fell in the black hole, you'd watch that spaceship just like corrode and melt away or something. And the nature of the event horizon means that any light that comes in tangentially from an object in outer space will bend around the event horizon and orbit the event horizon. So that you get this glow around the event horizon. So if you're falling backwards into a black hole and you're watching time speed up all around you to infinite speeds, you can essentially watch the whole of the universe end before your eyes, because the light from everywhere is going to be hitting your eyes until there's nothingness. Coincidentally, also, when you fall into a black hole and you look to the side, right? So down, your feet might be going towards the black hole, but as you pass through the event horizon, you look to the side, because your light orbits the black hole, the light emitting off your back orbits the black hole and hits you in the face, and you're looking at your own butt. And you'll turn around and you'll watch a million yous turn around like in one of those crazy mirrors, and you're looking at your butt again. You turn around and you're looking at your butt. So black holes are weird. Very weird. And then you get spaghettified and, the tidal forces tear you apart. Are knuckle sandwiches any good? Seen them being offered to people in movies. Well, I offer some knuckle sandwiches every once in a while. I may have had taker. I had a guy trolling me that said he'll fly me out to where he lives in the UK because he wants to fight me. So, I think, hey, free trip to the UK. I'll do it. And he hasn't responded back since I was like, yeah, I'm okay with that. But who knows if he'll respond back. See if he comes in here. He got upset because he refused to wear a mask and said that when he had COVID, he walked around his town without wearing a mask. He didn't care if other people got sick and died. And I was like, that's fucked up. And then it escalated from there. And then he said, I'm going to fight you. And I was like, okay, let's do it. PJ, IBKR is as safe as Fidelity. When do you stream? So it's Interactive Brokers, right? IPKR. Interactive Brokers, are they their own clearinghouse? Interactive Brokers Clearinghouse. No, they trade. They're members of the DTCC. It looks like. So self-clearing, online brokerage clearing firm, self-clearing got Vanguard, Merrill Edge, Charles Schwab, TD Ameritrade, Fidelity. No, I don't think Schwab is self-clearing. Why is that on that list? Huh. I have to look into that further. But IB had stopped trading on GameStop back in January also. So they sounds like, I think they're DTCC if that's the case. They had someone come down like, this shall not trade, and they went with it. Jeffrey R. also asked, thank you for the answer. That's a lot more weird than I thought. Also, Doom movie was cool. Would recommend. Thanks, Houston. I recommend the Doom movie also. I think they did what they did brilliantly was they didn't try to cram the book into one movie like everyone else seems to do. And it just becomes this like, Thorgat of Gelmar, this is Torgat of Flurblar, and then they describe some piece of technology in infinite detail. And it's like, dude, shut up. Just let us watch the movie and get to the actual storyline. Because it's a big book and it's really complex and there's a whole series of books. So it was Dune Part 1 and it just lays the groundwork for future movies. So they basically can make a whole franchise out of this sucker, and I thought that was a brilliant way to do it. The direction and the beauty and the way they filmed the desert was gorgeous. And had very much Lawrence of Arabia / Star Wars / Mad Max vibes to it, and I dig it. I dig it a lot. PJ, happy to join this one. Have some more fake. Oh, forget to say when else I stream. I forgot to answer that part. Have some more fake money. I stream usually. I try to do 12:30 on Wednesdays, 12:30 on Mondays, 12:30 on Wednesdays, and then Fridays will be nighttime. I usually do 1 or 2 interviews with someone else during the week, and then the fourth Tuesday, this coming Tuesday, is going to be our charity show for the month, and we're raising money for the American Multiple Sclerosis Society. So we'll help some folks and do hopefully a nice big charity show on Tuesday. So I'm looking forward to that. And PJ says, is Euroape, not sure which broker is safe except ComputerShare. Well, yeah. European brokerages do weird things when they trade U.S. stocks, and it seems like a lot of them trade in that they have like a shell company or holdings company actually buy the stocks, and then they kind of loosely associate you with the shares inside of that holding company. I'm like, yeah, these ones are yours-ish, but it's not actually like an agreement of ownership. It's just kind of like you loosely get your name sort of associated with this cloud of shares over here. So I'm a little hesitant for some of the European apes. The ones that are buying on the German exchange on Frankfurt, they're probably getting them through their broker and getting them traditionally like assigned with their brokerage. But ones who are buying through agreements with U.S. traders or third parties or weird stuff might have some weird issues. And that's something you might want to investigate. Okay. All right. That might be it for me this evening. I want to thank everybody for joining me for Houston After Dark, Livecast 60. We're 9 away from a very special show. And I'll see you all. I keep saying I'll do a TikTok show, and then I keep falling asleep. So not TikTok, Twitch. That's the one I'm looking for. Twitch. Might do a Twitch show. Yeah, maybe tomorrow evening. Do some GeoGuessr, see where in the world we are, and catch you guys on the flip side. Monkey butt. Can you say goodbye to everyone? Or not? All right, everybody. Thank you. Good night. I'll leave you with your nightly present. Ready? 1, 2, 3, go.